Good morning, everyone. This is MightyStream. Good morning to you. Top of the morning to you. It is March 16th, and I'm excited about what is in store for us today. I can't wait to get down into the office and set it up so that I can do live streams right from the office. I'm excited to be able to do that. Listen, I am MightyStream. If you haven't met me already, it's not like I have tons of followers yet, right? But if you haven't met me already, my name is MightyStream, and I'm with Hope Through Navigation, and I am introducing the H.O.O.D recovery services, right? And this H.O.O.D program, H.O.O.D, that acronym stands for Hope Offered on Demand. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com, right up there at the top of the screen. You see that? That's where you can reach me. Send me a message and I will respond. If you have some questions about your recovery or you need some direction, I am the recovery navigation coordinator. So go ahead and ask those questions and I will be excited and happy to lend a helping hand, extending hope to you, right? Today's a beautiful day. Let's get right into the meditation. And as we get into the meditation, let me just say, God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today. Here is the NA Just for Today meditation, March 16th, inventory. The purpose of a searching and fearless moral inventory is to sort through the confusion and the contradiction of our lives so that we can find out who we really are. Basic text, page 27. Using addicts are a confused and confusing bunch of people. It's hard to tell from 1 minute to the next what they're going to do or who they're going to be. Usually, the addict is just as surprised as anyone else. When we used, our behavior was dictated by the needs of our addiction. Many of us still identify our personalities closely with the behavior we practice while using, leading us to feel shame and despair. Today, we don't have to be the people we once were, shaped by our addiction. Recovery has allowed us to change. We can use the 4-step inventory to see past the needs of our old using life and find out who we want to be today. Writing about our behavior and noticing how we feel about that behavior helps us understand who we want to be. Our inventory helps us see beyond the demands of active addiction, beyond our desire to be loved and accepted. We find out who we are at the root. We begin to understand what's appropriate for us and what we want our lives to be like. This is the beginning of becoming who we really are. Just for today, if I want to find out who I am, I'll look at who I've been and who I want to be. That's a beautiful meditation for today. Like I can just, for me, what I can just sense that last sentence there. If I want to find out who I am, I'll look at who I've been and who I want to be. It's about the inventory, but that last little part after the comma, I'll look at who I've been and who I want to be. To me, that sounds like a meditation mantra in a sense, right? I'll look at who I've been and who I want to be. I want you to do that today. I want you to do that today. And it doesn't have to be an official 4th step. I want you to do your 4th step with your sponsor. If you don't have a sponsor, I want you to get your 4th step, get a sponsor and do your 4th step with your sponsor. But I want you to promise me that today you are going to begin to look at who you've been and who you want to be. And the reason why we want to do that, let me get out of that. The reason why we want to look at our past from the perspective of how did I respond to the things that I was doing, right? What were my emotions behind those things? And are they the sort of things that caused me to have increased value, self-esteem, or are they the type of things that cause me to want to use and cover the emotions of guilt and shame, anger, resentment, fear up, right? Did I use to cover some emotions up that I didn't expect? You know, I'm an addict, right? So I'm an addict, and I have these behaviors that involve chasing the next one. But when I get the next one, the behavior that comes with that, because once you take the drug, right? The drug takes the person in, then the person takes the drug takes the person in the end, right? And so ultimately the drug begins to control you, that obsession and compulsion, just to have one more. And once I get that one more, I'll be okay, except for that one more, that drug is mind and mood altering, right? That's why we talk about avoiding anything that is mind and mood altering. Because when my mind is altered, then I'm no longer able to make sober decisions. I'm no longer able to make sound decisions. And that's a problem for us, because then the aftermath of those behaviors, right? The things that we do under the influence of drugs, those are the things that sneak up and bite us in the tail. Those are the things that land us in prison. Those are the things that land us in the hospital. Those are the things that land us without having our children. Those are the things that land us in the ground, jails, institutions, and death. Let's be serious about that part, right? And so when you're doing your inventory, you're in a position where you're looking at the past only from the point of view, where did that lead me to? Those behaviors, where did it lead me to? Those feelings, where did they lead me to? And how do I take care of that today so that I don't go to the same place? One of them is by avoiding certain people, places, and things. We don't willfully get ourselves in situations where we may not be able to get out of them clean. It backs us up into a corner we can't get out of. We don't want to do that anymore. And one of the reasons I think people come into the program of Narcotics Anonymous and they continue to do some of the same behaviors, like the Just for Today was saying, some of the same behaviors that they did when they were actively using, is because they haven't done the work. They haven't done the work of the steps. They haven't had a true impartation of the spiritual principles of the steps. Because once you do 1, 2, and 3, right? Number 1, you surrender. You admit you have a problem and you surrender. Number 2, right? You came to believe that you could be restored to sanity. So you recognize there was insanity, but you are believing, right? By admitting that you have a problem and addressing it, that you can get better. That's all that is. Right? And step 3, we're turning our will and our life over to the care of God as we understand Him. Nobody's interested in the definition of your God. No one's interested in that. What we're interested in is that higher power, a loving and caring higher power, right? That you feel comfortable enough to turn your will and your life over to the care of that higher power. And if you can say yes, right? And you have an ideal of who or what your higher power is, then you can, with faith, move on into the 4th step, which is that we take a searching, fearless, and moral inventory. I'm paraphrasing because I'm not reading it word for word, right? Of ourselves, right? And so when you're doing that moral inventory, it's not saying that you're morally bad or anything like that, but it's asking you, what were those things in your active addiction that you did that you didn't feel too good about? But not only, it don't just leave you there and drop you off, but it also pulls you into what were the good things? What are the assets that you have? Because we need to distinguish between the liabilities and the assets, because if we can do that now, I got you in a position where you can start making the decisions that lead you more towards the assets and not the liabilities. And it takes work. It takes practice to stay out of your liabilities, out of those emotions and feelings and behaviors. So when I am in relationship to an individual that is still constantly having the same behaviors of their active using, other than not picking up the drug. They've stopped that. When I am dealing with someone that is still in that rut of doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, that is evidence to me that you've got to get to the point with your sponsor where you do your step work, right? And you've got to go into that fourth step, that inventory. You've got to be able to look at what you have. Okay, the inventory, right? When you take stock, I used to be a stocker. I used to work third shift for a grocery store, and I was their stocker, right? And so I would go in, and this was before they were 24/7, right? I would go into the store, third shift, and my whole job was to take a tally of what was on the shelves and what was not. And the buyer for the store expected that information in the morning so that he or she could go in and buy the things that are selling out and maybe make a decision about some of the things that haven't sold in weeks. Like, we don't need that. We don't need that particular bubble bath scent. We don't need that. We don't need that particular tortilla, right? We don't need that particular item because it's not selling and none of it has sold. Like, since we've had it on the shelf, none of it has sold. So those are the things that get to go to clearance, and then the buyer can bring in the things that are beneficial to the company and that will go off of the shelf. It's the same way with your personal inventory, right? I gotta get you to get this. It's like, it sounds so simple, but when you get to the point where you have a relationship with your sponsor, you can go all the way to the edge of the water, but your sponsor cannot make you drink. You have to do your fourth step, and only you can do it. And when you get done with it, your sponsor is loving and caring and will be there to help you guide you through that, to see what your liabilities are and what your assets are. What are these liabilities? What are these behaviors and ways of thinking? By looking at the past, you're able to see that they didn't fly off the shelf. They didn't get you relationships. They didn't get you friendships. They didn't get your children back. They didn't do, matter of fact, they helped you lose your kids, right? So when you look at your inventory and you see that none of that benefited me, this is stuff that is on my shelf of my life, of my heart, of my spirit, of my mind, that are not beneficial. I need to get rid of those. Or at least, right? Because when you get to the sixth and seventh step, we humbly ask God to remove these character defects from us, right? We became entirely ready. We became entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. We humbly ask God to remove our shortcomings. So it's 6 and 7 go together. But so what I'm saying is that at least in the fourth step, you are itemizing the stuff that's on the shelf that is not beneficial to you. And you are itemizing on the right hand, the stuff that's right, the stuff that is beneficial to you. Does that make sense? I'm hoping I'm not patronizing anyone, right? I hope that I'm making sense to you and that you understand and that you receive it, because our word life is at stake. For us in recovery, if we take just one more, and with stuff being laced with fentanyl, they got marijuana laced with fentanyl now. Stuff being laced, right? You can get a bad batch and take a hit and be dead. No life insurance, no money in the bank because you've been using, right? Basically, we're just going to be one final blow to our family. It can be like that. You can pick up and get a bad batch and not wake up. Everyone thinks they got another use in them. You definitely probably have another use, because there's always an option, but you may not have another comeback. You may not have another recovery. And so what I'm trying to convey today from the Just for Today meditation is that you do your inventory. You figure out what the liabilities are and what the assets are. And you get rid of the stuff that you know you cannot use. And then the things that you can use, your assets, your kindness, your generosity, your tenacity, your ability to show up on time, your non-judgmental attitude, these assets that you have, we want to build on them. We want to maximize those. And the job of your sponsor is to help you see which items were liabilities and which items were assets, right? It's really a beautiful experience. My first 4th step, I did it at We Grow with Love on Memorial Day weekend. I did it with a lady who was not my sponsor. I was having problems with my sponsor at the time. My sponsor and I had become friends without labeling it as friends. So we would sit at the hairdressers together, getting our hair done, gossiping. I knew everybody else's that were my sponsee's sisters. She would ask me what I thought she needed to do with them, right? It was just one big gossip party. And in the back of my mind the whole time, I kept thinking, there's no way. My 4th step, I'm definitely not going to do a 5th step with her and share this information on my 4th step, because I understand that a dog that will carry a bone will take one. I understood very clearly if she is going to gossip about other sponsees, and I know all of their gritty detail, then she will do the same thing with me. And so when I approached this woman, I had already met her the year before at the same retreat. It's in Milton, Indiana, and it's called We Grow with Love, and it's usually over Memorial Day weekend. I had met her before. You know what? Oh my goodness. I was just thinking her name is, I could tell her name. Her name is Gwen, right? I won't give you her last name or initial, right? Her name is Gwen. And I asked Gwen, between the one that I met her at and the next one, would she go over my 4th step with me? And she asked me, are you asking me to be your sponsor? I said, no, I'm not asking you to be my sponsor, but I know that I can go over my 4th step with anyone I trust. And I trust you. I don't want to be stuck because I don't know how to tell my sponsor right now that I don't want her to sponsor me anymore. And she was like, yes, I will honor that. And I thought it was going to be like the worst kind of grilling, right? I was going to share all this stuff. There were areas where I got really, really intense and emotional. And she said, let's take a break. And she gave me a hug or some feedback. And she said, let's take a break. Let's walk down to the lake. And we sit on the shore on the lake. I think at one point we even got in a rowboat, right? And she gently led me into my 4th step, my 5th step sharing, right? She used wisdom and she shared her own experience, strength and hope as needed. If she saw that I was feeling like I was unique, she shared her experience, strength and hope with me so I could have an understanding that I was not alone. And I'm telling you, by the time I went to I want to say it was long. I believe it starts on Thursday and it goes all the way through to Memorial Day on Monday, right? So at some point, I want to say it took like 2.5 days, but at some point we were all walking into the kitchen of the lodge where we could eat our meal. And someone said, it's like you're glowing. There's like this super bright light around you. And I was like, really? They're like, yes. I was like, I don't know why I've been doing my 4th step my fifth step with my sponsor all, not my sponsor, but doing my fifth step all weekend. And it's really been very intense. I don't know why you see it, like they were complimenting me. And I was like, I've been in so much pain and I've been cleansing and crying. How can you even think that there's anything positive about my presence, light around my presence? And they're like, girl, you're glowing. What you're doing, keep on doing. Doing that fifth step is agreeing with you. You are shining. And I'll never forget that. I was amazed how sharing that level of information with someone, not virtually a stranger, but sharing it with another human being, how it can lighten the weight that's on a person without them even really being aware of it. Other people noticed it before I noticed it. I couldn't believe it. And I want to encourage you to do the same, to get to the point where you have a sponsor and you can do your inventory with your sponsor, your fourth step. And your fifth step is when you're sharing it with them, right? So I hope that's helpful to you today. I have some things that I want to go take care of down at the R&R. I'm excited to be with you today. And I hope that you will have the most wonderful hump day that you've ever had. Go out there and be great, because you are great. You are awesome, right? Look at you. Did you think that you could stay clean this long? When you got started, really, did you think that you could stay clean this long, that you could have the set of accomplishments that you've accomplished, that degree, that business, that 501c3, that relationship, that marriage, those children you lost and gained back? Did you think that you could do all of that? Did you think that you would have a forklift license? Really? Yeah, you see? We clean up and we become productive members of society. And I want to encourage you to do the work, because the more you do the work, the freer you will be. My name is MightyStream, and I'm so glad to be with you today. I'm here with the H.O.O.D Recovery Services, right? Brought to you through Hope Through Navigation as their initiative. And if you need to reach me, reach out to me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Make it great. Have a beautiful day. MightyStream, and I'm out.